What is going on, YouTube? Smaller here, and this is my official thoughts video on the Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree. I finally beat it, and if you're able to take a look at my character, yep, that's what I had to do, because this is totally not the build that I was going the entire playthrough. The entire playthrough, I was heavy Dex Faith, all the way, pretty much very heavy into lightning, and if I had to go melee, I did use some dex weapons, but it was mainly dex faith and a lot of spells. I probably threw 50 plus attempts at the final boss of the DLC, and I just couldn't get anywhere. And to be quite honest, I just wanted to be done with it. So, third try with this build, got him down pretty easily as well. Yeah, now, overall my thoughts on the DLC. Right up front, I'm going to say this is like an 8 out of 10. I know Metacritic has this as the highest rated DLC of all time. I don't think so. That being said, 8 out of 10 is still pretty good. I think all of the Souls, or let me just say From Software's DLCs, have all been pretty good to very good. This is maybe my second or third favorite of their DLCs. Bloodborne easily being my favorite, along with, I honestly, aside from accessing the DLC, I actually really like Dark Souls 1's DLC a lot. But let's talk about the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Visually, this DLC is on par with regular Elden Ring. It's phenomenal. It's S tier. The amount of new gear, the visuals, the artistic direction, everything, including with enemies, the bosses, all of that. It's S tier. The music, S tier. All the new characters and their voice acting, S tier. It's just incredible. There has been a lot of discourse online about the difficulty of the DLC, and like the tuning and everything. And even FromSoft even released a patch. Me personally, I don't think it needed it. I think players just needed to give it a little bit more time to cook, let people spend a little bit more time with it. More people needed to, it's the mob mentality of like, oh, it's not working right now, therefore nerf, please. It's too good, must nerf now. Not realizing they had to go out and explore and get the Shadow Tree fragments to increase their blessing. I had no trouble with any bosses besides the final boss, really. There was a couple bosses that, I probably put in like 5 to 10 attempts, leaning closer to 10 attempts. And there was 2 bosses that I kind of say are kind of like, a little BS with some of their mechanics, but it had nothing to do with the tuning of like their damage or HP or anything. And this is where it leads into some of my criticisms with the DLC. I think some of the hitboxes are really messed up with some of the mobs and the bosses. I think in terms of hitting them and them hitting you, specifically comes to mind is a particular boss that's riding something. And I know this is like a non-spoiler review, but you're looking at, okay, whatever. There'd be many times where I would be dodge, my character's clearly out of the way, and then I get hit. Like, they're not even touching, and then I get, like, how does that make any sense? This happened with another boss that's much earlier on as well. But otherwise, I had no issues with the bosses, but yeah, hitboxes. And another thing that I have an issue with this DLC is rewards for loot. Now, I have no problem with the rewards of beating all the bosses, the remembrances, that kind of thing. And there are some very good rewards for exploration. But there's a lot of times where I'm doing this deep exploration, going down these corridors and pathways that's, the wrong way to go for progression, but it's, to like try to like, loot goblin things up. And maybe it's guarded by some, more like elite type level mobs, and Smithing Stone 3. Red flesh mushroom or something, I'm like, I don't know. And I understand them wanting to give the player access to a lot more upgrade materials because there's a lot of new weapons. But the base game offers the ability, as long as you do your dungeons, to be able to purchase indefinitely an infinite amount of all of the upgrade materials minus the final one. And so it was just always a disappointment for me. Every time I found it, always a disappointment. Every single time. And the last thing I probably want to say, I guess, like in terms of like any kind of criticism would be is that there is a lot of open areas with nothing. Now, I know the base game has some of this as well, but the DLC is smaller. Granted, it's very big. It's still smaller than the base game, and I feel like there is even more open space of nothing than the base game. Now, maybe that's just, my mind thinking that way, but I don't know. That's my opinion. Now, let's go back to some of the things this game does great, or the DLC does great, right? We talked about the artistic direction, the scale, the scope, the characters, the voice acting, everything on that line. I'm someone who, I actually liked the final boss for lore reasons. I know I've seen a lot of people complain about it. They're like, "Oh, you're just doing this and this. It's kind of a lame final boss." Blah 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 blah. I thought for lore implications, it fit very well with the lore of the base game. I thought it was great. I've enjoyed the lore of Elden Ring very, very much. Go watch Vanti's videos. I think it's fantastic. I think the diverse region type areas in the DLC is incredible. Again, it's a smaller space than the main game, and I think every different area looks vastly different, yet still fits, and it's just aesthetically so pleasing to look at. It's great. There's 2 regions in this DLC that I did not think would even exist in the Elden Ring universe, because it didn't really seem like it fit, but it fit very well. I thought it was beautiful. But yeah, overall, I'm still gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because of the couple criticisms that I have. I feel very strongly about. Yeah. At the end of the day, though, you like Elden Ring, you're gonna love the DLC. You like the Souls games, you're gonna like the DLC. Kind of thing. It's a DLC. It's gonna be very challenging. Expect it to be difficult. Make use of the blessing mechanic that, of how that works, please. It's literally in there for a reason, So, anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and that is my thoughts on Elden Ring's Shadow of the Erdtree.